Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls, coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a really pretty rainbow card. It's just stamped with a single balloon stamp, just a bunch of different times in a rainbow of colors, and then used a little bit of heat embossing to create highlights here and there with some, whether you call it inlay, die cutting, or eclipse effect. I don't know if you can see that. The happy is raised up and cut into the card. Really fun card, goes together super quick, and I just love how cheerful it is. So let me show you how it's made. So to create this card, I've got a piece of just white Nina cardstock that's about 4 by 5 1/4. It's just short of, this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's just a little bit smaller. I'm going to put that on my stamping platform. This is just a sticky mat that I've got inside my Misty. And I'm just going to put my magnet on there just to kind of help. And then I've got this balloon die, or stamp. It's actually a Crafter's Companion balloon, but it can be any. And I'm just going to kind of stamp balloons, and you can see I've got my rainbow of color inks up here. And I'm going to stamp balloons sort of off the edges and all over, essentially all over the whole card. Now, while I've got my stamping out here, I'm going to go ahead and stamp birthday on here. Now, I'm not going to move that because I think I'm going to heat emboss over it with some clear embossing powder. So I just stamped right over it with my Versamark. That gives me a nice shiny sentiment. Now I'm going to do, let me get my stamping platform out here because I'm done with that. And I don't know if you noticed, but while I was stamping some of these, the stamp that I have is obviously not a very good quality stamp because it was not holding on to that ink even after I conditioned the stamp with an eraser and tape and all kinds of stuff. So I was having to put a bunch of different coats on. So what if you find that that's happening, rather than, and you don't want to stamp a bunch of different coats, stamp it first, put the Versamark ink on first, and then don't stamp, don't wipe it off, and then put your colored ink right on top of the Versamark, and you get a much better stamp. So I was doing that. Now I've got this, it's an embossing writer, and it's basically like Versamark ink in a pen. And I'm going to go around, and I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of a, because this is not a layering stamp, and so I'm just going to kind of go along the edge and put a like an arc of embossing ink, and I'm going to heat emboss it in clear, and you can see the little marks on the stamp, and I'm going to use those as a guide. And I'm just going to go down and put a little arc down that corner of the balloon on each and every one of them. Now I've got a happy die, and I'm going to cut my sentiment out of the center of the panel and then put it back in. So let's get this straight. And you want to save all the little pieces because you're going to want to put those back in to your and then I cut that same die about once in or twice in some white cardboard. I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my card base, just like so. And you want to make sure and get glue right up around all of those small pieces. And then this is going to go back in there, but I cut it a bunch of times in white, and I'm going to put that on first. So I'm going to mount it onto that white. Now when I put this back in, it's going to go in there, but I need to put those pieces back in. So I'm going to put some there we go. Now I can put my happy back in. So my camera died there before I finished. So I got my happy inlaid back in there, and then I just trimmed and put my birthday on there and created my card. And I'm all done. Thanks for watching.